Fascism. It is said that people are weak when divided, but strong when united under a common banner, whether that banner is a state, nation, army, or something similar. This ideology is authoritarian, meaning it is characterized by a controlling government that rejects the concept of people voting among multiple parties. It involves a strong central authority, typically in the form of a dictator, and dismisses the separation of powers. Fascism is also ultranationalist, which holds that a nation should prioritize its own interests over the rights of other nations. Ultranationalism often goes hand in hand with militarism, the belief that a nation should maintain a powerful military to advance its own interests and values. Fascism suppresses opposition through forceful means, supports a natural social hierarchy, and encourages the rejection of individual interests in favor of what is seen as the greater good of the nation or race. Authoritarianism is a form of government marked by strong, usually centralized power that demands obedience to authority and restricts political and civil freedoms. For instance, many classic monarchies are examples of authoritarianism. The leader of an authoritarian country often imprisons and persecutes opponents. Communitarianism. Communitarianism emphasizes community welfare as the primary social unit and contends that both left and right-wing policies are essential for the community's benefit, viewing extreme individualism as potentially harmful when it opposes common interests. Transhumanism. Transhumanism encourages people to enhance themselves through technology to address both fundamental and complex human challenges, ultimately aiming for immortality and advanced physical and cognitive capabilities. Imperialism has generally represented the belief that a country should expand its power or influence through military means. It was once widely accepted and seen as a form of moderatism, though its popularity has diminished over time. Imperialism is recognized for its advocacy of war and the idea that stronger nations should govern weaker ones. It frequently defends itself against claims of oppression by arguing that colonized peoples benefit, as wealthier nations support them and provide resources they would not typically have access to. Only 1% of the fastest people can click on like button and subscribe before time runs out. Write on the comments done if you did it on time. Progressivism. Progressivism values societal advancement over strict adherence to past traditions, generally positioning itself in contrast to conservatism. Republicanism. Republicanism is based on governance without hereditary rulers, opposing monarchy, and emphasizing citizen participation in a republic structure. Populism centers on appealing to a broad audience and their values, operating on the belief that what the majority desires is what they should receive. It can manifest in various forms, as its primary characteristic is representing a movement of the people, by the people, and for the people. This gives it no fixed political alignment. Populism is commonly linked to democracies because of its dependence on popular support and often creates a divide between the general population and the elite, making it frequently anti-establishment and anti-political. Environmentalism. Also known as green politics, environmentalism encompasses a range of views that advocate for nature's influence on policy, including efforts to reduce pollution, lower carbon emissions, and promote recycling. Anarchism. Anarchism promotes a society free from centralized authority, valuing freedom as its foundation. It seeks to replace state power with self-managed communities and voluntary associations. Feminism. Feminism advocates for political, economic, social, and personal equality between sexes, arguing that societies have historically favored male perspectives, leading to unjust treatment of women. Feminist efforts include challenging gender stereotypes and promoting equal opportunities in education and careers. Communism. Communism focuses on collective ownership of production, distribution, and resources, where goods are distributed based on need. In a communist society, private property, social classes, currency, and the state are absent. Separatism. Separatism or secessionism seeks to establish a separate nation, state, or governing body independent from an existing one. Libertarianism. Libertarianism places freedom at its core, promoting maximal autonomy and minimal government interference. It echoes liberal ideals such as legal equality and the rights to life, liberty, and property. Corporatism. Corporatism promotes organizing society by employment sectors, e.g., agriculture, military, engineering, where individuals participate based on skills and interests. It emphasizes cross-class regulation where workers, employers, and the state work collaboratively to optimize economic function and balance interests, distinct from corporatocracies dominated by big business. Syndicalism. A branch of socialism, syndicalism advocates for workforce unionization, decentralized local worker organizations, syndicates, and advancing worker rights through strikes and direct action. Once capitalism is abolished, syndicates would form a congress or commune to represent economic sectors, possibly as a central governing body. Socialism. Socialism is an umbrella term encompassing various models. Traditionally, socialism advocates for worker-owned means of production, promoting worker co-ops, democratic self-management, and workplace democracy. Modern socialism also champions democratic self-management by workers, high taxation for the wealthy, and nationalization of key industries with social ownership as a central tenet. Capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system founded on private ownership of production for profit. Its core principles include private property, free trade, competition, division of labor, and social cooperation. Moderatism. Moderatism prefers to stay within what is known as the Overton window, or the spectrum of policies that mainstream society deems acceptable. Many moderates are somewhat apolitical, meaning they may not deeply engage with politics, though they often possess some general knowledge. Liberalism is often cited as a leading ideology in modern history. It supports the principle that each individual has inherent rights, that governments must gain approval from the people, and that everyone should be equal before the law. Liberalism also promotes free markets, elections with multiple political parties, a separation of powers among different branches of government, and a distinction between religion and government. It emphasizes core values enshrined in the Constitution, such as privacy rights, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and freedom of religion. Conservatism. Conservatism, as its name implies, seeks to preserve traditional values. In Western society, conservatives typically uphold the nuclear family, organized religion, the military, and property rights as core principles. Nazism. Nazism, a form of fascism, centers on racial ideology, claiming Aryans are superior and should dominate to improve the world. Nazis classified Aryans as white, heterosexual, mentally and physically fit, non-Jewish and courageous, while labeling non-Aryans as Untermensch, or subhuman. Nazism supported eugenics, targeting populations they deemed genetically inferior, including Jewish people and homosexuals, often leading to persecution and genocide.
I don't think you can click on the next video before 3 seconds runs out. 3, 2, 1.